Hi guys, it's Abby. Today I am doing my presentation on the role that biodiversity plays in health. So I'm going to start off with a quick definition of biodiversity. The question is, what is biodiversity? And there are three main elements: genetic diversity, species, and ecosystem diversity. For genetic diversity, we're looking at how many different alleles are in a population, and between populations, how diverse are those populations compared to one another. An example I can think of is in the wild natural habitat, the axolotls are much more diverse than the axolotls that are bred in captivity for labs and pets. The laboratory ones and the pet ones are very inbred, which is not good because that being inbred can cause some weakness in the immune system and loss of certain genes. And those immune system genes may have a role in things like regenerative medicine that they're being studied. For species diversity, we're looking at how many different species exist in the ecosystem, in the biosphere, and we have to consider that some species are endangered or threatened over the globe, and species can also go locally extinct. For ecosystem diversity, we're looking at how many different ecosystems are there. We're also looking at how things like agriculture, flooding, and invasive species change the ecosystem. Many know that we've lost a lot of forests due to the lumber industry, for example. And we have also lost a lot of the wetland ecosystem, too. So why is biodiversity important to health? Well, biodiversity has roles in food and nutrition, medicines, immune system, mental health, discovery of certain medicines, and accessibility to health for many. And all of these will be explained in more detail later in the presentation. For food and nutrition, food is grown, and also food supplies things like animals, which we use for meat. And from that, we're getting our important nutrients like carbohydrates, proteins, fats, vitamins, minerals. And growing food also supports pollinators like bees and encourages good soil health. And right now, we're looking at the global food supply depends on a small number of crops that are homogeneous, so there's not a lot of variety, and some of these crops are not quite nutritionally dense. And certain foods have gone extinct. There was a specific type of banana, and it went extinct because there was no genetic diversity between it. There was only a single clone, and all of it was wiped out by Panama disease. And just different types of food, from blueberries we get antioxidants that reduce inflammation, promote heart health, tons of good things just from having a diverse diet. And genetic diversity is important to plant survival. And a quick little case study here is an example of how marine biodiversity was used for cancer medicine. And for context, just some background information, around 40 to 80% of the pharmaceutical formulations come from nature. It's quite a large range, but I think the definition just differs slightly, like natural source versus compound. And a high percentage of cancer drugs come from natural sources, as well as Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, and malaria. So scientists discovered that using I'm not going to try to pronounce it. It's basically two of these molecules just bound together. And they found that using this from marine sources versus other natural sources for developing the anti-cancer drugs, they had a 4 times higher success rate. And these things are used in nature. They're used by plants as a defense mechanism against microbial infections. But in humans, these compounds were used for fighting cancer. And these compounds, they were great at targeting cancer cells specifically. For some, the medicine spreads all over the body and attacks cells that really don't need to be attacked in the process of getting rid of the cancer. And these drugs also had fewer side effects. Normally, these drugs can be really horrible to deal with, but these ones were slightly less horrible. And in the future, they're using these substances for developing anti-tumor drugs. Forests are great for immunity and mental health. Many people know that taking a walk in the forest can reduce stress and usually come back a little bit more focused. But this fresh air that you breathe in contains phytoncides. I don't know if I'm saying that right. The trees use it for insect protection, but for us, breathing these in has antibacterial and antifungal properties which help prevent disease. And there may be a possible link to cancer prevention. It's being explored by Japanese scientists right now. And the reason they think it's a possible link is because breathing in those phytoncides, it increases production of natural killer cells, which are cells in the immune system that kill tumor cells and virus cells. And in one study, they found that patients in the hospital who were placed next to a room with a window overlooking green space, they had fewer negative side effects and they were able to go home from surgery faster than those who did not have it. Biodiversity is also important for discovery. Right now, extinction rates are 100 to 1,000 times higher than past eras, faster. And species are going extinct at a faster rate than they're being discovered. And just like those marine compounds, there are so many undiscovered compounds that we don't know what they do. And as countries develop, they generally lose biodiversity with their economic progress. And biodiversity is also important for accessibility in health. Many places don't have access to modern medicines developed in like a lab. So this is a case study of Tanzania. In Tanzania, I don't know about these ones specifically, these are just examples of medicinal plants. But medicinal plants play a huge role in the primary care of many people in rural areas. And if we keep losing the diversity of species, these plants are not going to be very accessible. And many depend on these plants, yet more people want access to them because of their properties. So right now, they're not really being harvested at a sustainable rate. We need to focus on conservation efforts so these people can keep their primary healthcare source. And those are my references. Thank you for watching.